have hope. And it's a decision that we make, and it's a decision that I think we individually have to kind of come to terms with what does hope mean. But in essence, she also says that when we do decide that we actually have hope, because it would be a life lost without it, that we need to learn to live inside that hope. And I love that sense of living inside hope, because in our lives often, and in life in general, there's a real necessity for us to feel hope and to feel this sense of connectivity through our hope. And I think one of the things that we do by sharing mindfulness together is we share that we all have this common sense of hope for something greater, for the best in humanity to come forward. And in some way or another, in my sense anyways, and in my experience, when we do mindfulness together, we're actually sharing that common theme of living inside our hope. Because to be mindful means to really to step outside of the general kind of social buzz of trauma and of opinion, and to really move inside to a place that's in the moment, not detached from that, but it takes it into account, but it also doesn't leave out the other. It doesn't leave out the fact that we have this incredibly intelligent universe, that every day that we wake up, we can reinvent ourselves, that in every moment there is hope, there is the possibility of some part of hope coming toward us, that kindness and caring and the most exalted virtues of humans are there, and that there's more right with us than there is wrong with us. And I think that those are really important things that when we collectively share our mindfulness practice, we're acknowledging those. And although we don't necessarily articulate that every time, by virtue of spending time together, of making the intention to be mindful, and of having this common place of sharing that, we are in fact engaging in that practice of contributing to the vibration of hope, and of holding the most highest regard and also hope for humanity. So I'll just leave it at that. And I'm in a very tender spot today because I've got another health thing that I'm dealing with, but I also have this great reservoir of hope. And for whatever reason, when we draw on that and when we do that collectively and for each other, I think we offer the pathway and the doorway to being able to, I think, live in peace and harmony with each other and with ourselves. So there you go. We'll start from there. So with that sense of our own, we have more right with us than is wrong with us. Come into your very dignified position of what we will call, in many ways, the seated position. So in yoga and in meditation and in mindfulness, we come into this space where we're attentive, but we're not with tension. So find a place where you can let your spine be tall. Let your awareness move into your inner landscape. And at the same time, hold capacity for all that is. So although we've moved our awareness to the inside, notice that you may hear sounds more by closing your eyes. And notice all the other things that happen when you close your eyes, when you move into this inner domain, to your inner world. And one of the first things that you may notice is that there may be this pause, this place of repose of the nervous system going, oh, okay, here I am. And as you do that, just like you were a newborn baby, just becoming familiar with kind of opening up into a new environment, a new world, allow yourself to really take this world in, this inner world. So begin by noticing perhaps the difference between the outer world and the inner world, by noticing that you still, although your eyes are closed, you do have a visual awareness. And there may be something happening behind your closed eyes. And there's no analysis here, there's simply observing. And then notice that as you have moved into your inner landscape, that sounds may change a little bit. They may become more perceptible. And as you're noticing sounds move into your mouth, relaxing the inside flesh of your cheeks, relaxing the back of the tongue, in the back of the throat, softening the upper palate and the roof of your mouth, and then tasting, noticing what your sense of taste tells you right now. And as we're in this area, we'll also now feel what the inside of the mouth feels like, because we have a lot of nerve endings there. Excuse me. And really notice perhaps the shape of your tongue, the tension perhaps, or the relaxation in the cheeks. And perhaps releasing your jaw, letting it drop slightly. And then as you breathe in, carrying on with the sensory awareness of touch, feel your breath. And take a few good breaths, filling your lungs, broadening the heart and shoulders, and then emptying completely, feeling the belly kind of squeeze out like a sponge, the last air. Relaxing the shoulders on the exhale. And repeating that. Using the invitation of the exhale and the feeling of the exhale. So how do you feel that exhale in your body? Do you feel it like a letdown, like a kind of a release downward? Good. And as we've moved through all of the sensory modalities, I'm going to ask you to just consider another sense, which is proprioception, which we don't often talk about much, but it really is one of our senses. And even though our eyes are closed right now, you're likely to have a very good sense of where your body is and the shape of it. So although we may not have tactile feeling perhaps everywhere, we can usually tune into that sensory modality of proprioception to a degree, whatever that degree may be. And then I'd like to invite you to consider another sense that I feel happens a lot when I'm doing mindfulness practice. And that's the sense of time. And I wonder how you notice time right now. Perhaps it's slowed down slightly and smoothed out. Always just counting on the breath as your anchor to continue to cultivate your presence in the moment. Effortless awareness. As the mind quietens, you may notice this beautiful quality of silence also having a quality and a presence. Trusting in yourself here in this place of curious and loving and compassionate presence. Relaxing to your own beautiful nature and to the truth that we really don't need to think about our next breath, that we can completely trust in the life force being there for us. And if we are thinking about it, we can trust in the procedures that provide it. I wonder if it's possible for us to feel, as the breath is so gently moving in and out in its almost unconscious rhythm, we can just follow the breath as it moves in and notice the subtle movement in the body. You may notice the inhale brings slight expansion both of the chest and of the belly. And you may notice the exhale relaxes the belly and some encounter the kind of the letdown effect of the muscles of the shoulders between the neck and the ears, just releasing. And so I invite you to just track that for a few moments. Just being completely absorbed by the movement of your breath. Effortless awareness on the movement of the breath. And perhaps even as you're noticing the movement of the breath, consider the miracle of the breath, that it comes to us through the exchange of photosynthesis and through the trees and through the ozone. And just like William Shatner experienced last week, there's this very thin membrane between the planet Earth atmosphere and outer space. And that membrane is similarly actually providing us with the capacity to breathe through the chemical exchange and also through the pressure. And so each moment we're a miracle as we breathe. And in this last moment or so, I invite you to even consider that you're being breathed by the universe, by this great life force that fills you up with life force energy and empties out what is no longer needed. And as you allow yourself with your awareness and your beautiful sense of presence to relax around the breath and just return to noticing all that is. Being able to sit with the thoughts that perhaps aren't as quiet and as calm, perhaps even as my intention on the breath might be, is all part of it. Just really allowing for that space to hold with compassion whatever arises. As we begin to wind our way from mindfulness back out to the external world, just allowing yourself this place of transition where you notice that you will be moving from one place to another in a moment. And even noticing perhaps if the mind jumps into any presumptions or expectations, and just relaxing the mind. And then as we end our practice together, becoming aware again of your senses, predominantly right now, the proprioception one that we touched on earlier, where you remember where you are, to remember the shape of your body in the room, perhaps even what the room looks like. And as you gradually bring your awareness and your consciousness forward toward the external world, take a moment to rub your hands together, feeling a bit of energy in the palms, and then placing them, if it's there for you, on your eye beds. And even just noticing the pressure and also the color, that deeper place of relaxation, and reminding yourself that you can return to that in any moment throughout the day, just for a little reset, which is always good to do. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back into the room. So if you have any comments or questions or those type of things, you can certainly bring them forward. I also wanted to remind everybody that we have a podcast, and I'm not sure if the link is in the YouTube channel, but I will put it there today. But it's kind of a fun project for the SCI&U group, who bring you this as well. So it's a podcast about disability in general, but predominantly for SCI, but really it applies to all of us. And yeah, thank you for joining us today, as Barry says.
Thank you, Mary-Jo.
Thanks, Terry. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Mary-Jo.
Thanks, Maureen. All right, well, I wish you a peaceful week through this next week, because it's not really, Halloween is kind of a crazy holiday. But if you enjoy it, go have fun. And if not, good thing we have mindfulness and we can just go off and do that. And oh, good. Barry just put the link up in the chat for the podcast. Thanks, Barry. Yeah, and we're open to oh, thank you. Thanks so much, Karen. We're open to suggestions on the podcast, and also requests if you have ideas that you think might be fun for us to cover, and even guests. So maybe you want to be a guest as a mindfulness person or something. Yeah. Thanks, Christine. Nice to see you.
Bye.
Bye, Maureen. Bye, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good couple weeks, and I'll see you over towards Remembrance Day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye now.
Thanks, Mary-Jo.
Thanks, Barry.
You're very welcome. You take care.